because they've got this amphitheatre, and they have these kind of talks, and this is where George Bush gives talks and people like that on this stage. Oh look, there's the lake. There you go. Lakeside talks. There's the lake. There's the shrine. See, right there.
Honey, come get a shot of this. Now, where's this river? This is near the Russian River.
Here.
Now, see, here's the shrine of their devil owl, which they even admit has its roots in like Babylon, and the Druids had them and everything else. So all over the world, this weird owl shows up. Some cultures, they've thrown children inside the bowels of this burning owl. That's historical. We've all read in the Bible about throwing your children to idols inside their, you know. So it's weird behavior, definitely, so it needs to be investigated. And plus, it gets the adrenaline out. Thrill seekers have to have more. But here you go, honey. Right here at the shrine. You can zoom in on that, Mike. I'm saying honey to my girlfriend, Violet, not Mike here. We're getting real bohemian now, aren't we? This is... Honey, we can get a close shot right here. But it did sound like that she's definitely leftward leaning. Then we get into the whole semantical debate about is there a left and a right, and to me there really isn't. There's a command and control on one end and anarchy on the other, and I want to be on the middle of the real spectrum. Certainly got to have some control in a complex society and civilization. But all the developments I see are pretty bad towards dehumanization. And now you got the UN demanding everybody sign on to this International Criminal Court. And they're telling the U.S. if we don't sign on, it won't matter. If 60 countries ratify, we'll be under its control. I mean, we're here. We're at global government now. When they're saying they're going to have some world court in the Netherlands that they'll take anybody they want to. These are the... In fact, I was reading some of the talks that they've given and they've released that the Bohemian Grove has discussed, and it's all population control, world courts. You're talking 20 years ago. So definitely some stuff going on here that's pretty important. But is it the ultimate elitist retreat? I would imagine those we don't even know the names of. This is probably just one more steering committee where they bring in a lot of underlings and high-level corporate chieftains that really aren't the upper top echelon, make them feel important, and then implement some type of strategy. From the stories I've read and things that happen, I mean, it is pretty well documented that people run around naked. They have orgies. They go into town and have orgies, and these are world leaders. We got a serious problem with that. Just by the very nature of how this, to me, Bohemian Grove is probably a way to compromise people. You want to be in the New World Order Club. It's like a big kid fraternity. And just like in fraternities, you have to do weird things. Here, you probably do weird things. But I got a problem with governors and presidents and prime ministers and corporate chieftains running around and doing this when they have so much power over what happens in the public domain. They have a responsibility to disclose what they're doing. So I think it is important, like you were saying, to somehow try to maintain some security and not be way out in the open, because they'll call in a bunch of security. I hear,
like he often is.
I hear he really enjoys himself here.
I think Henry Kissinger will be here.
Well, if I got a stink detector, we'll be able to find out where he's at. Oh, it's like everything evil you can imagine, Kissinger's always involved in it.
Isn't he a Republican, though?
I'm not a Republican. That's the point I keep making. This whole Democrat-Republican deal is a complete... People always go back to that, though. Probably like in your country, you've got Labor and you've got the Tories over there, and it's all the same people behind closed doors. It's just a big joke. And your leadership, our leadership, it's all the same people. I mean, you do see a fight going on, but it's two different management teams of the same system, bidding for control. What I call the CEO jobs of Slavery Incorporated.
Do you worry for Alex, Violet?
I do. I just, because Alex gets so impassioned by what he's doing that sometimes I'm afraid that he might be a little bit, reckless or maybe a little bit too fearless. I worry about Alex when he drives down the street to come home, especially I used to worry about him when he had come home every night from the same, radio studio at the same time in the same car. And, I worry about him sometimes when he's late getting back in the studio and he doesn't give me a call. I mean, he is putting himself out there. But I think the fact that he's in the public eye as much as he is really, keeps him safe to a certain degree. So maybe something like this is, people might not necessarily know where he is right now, people that listen to the radio or whatever. So it's maybe a little bit more risky, and it's a little creepy at night up here in the woods,
And you're definitely not dangerous. You're not going to do anything stupid this weekend.
Well, dangerous to what? Dangerous to myself? Are these people dangerous? They certainly may be, but I'm completely nonviolent when it comes to just going out there and trying to get the information. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm an activist first and foremost, but also a journalist in that I'll make some jokes and speculate occasionally because I'm a radio talk show host. But when I say something that I believe, I have to be on target about it. But dangerous? I'm definitely dangerous to corrupt bureaucrats and their financial bosses that would like to control the American people on the planet.
But not in a violent way.
Not in a violent way. And long before global government came out in the open, in the last 4 or 5 years, they were conditioning the public that anyone that talks about global government is a kook, a weirdo, a terrorist, a racist. And now they're out on the nightly news saying global government's here, you better accept it, we're getting rid of juries all across the planet. The IMF, the World Bank, basically runs things now. The WTO decides what you can buy and sell and trade on the international market. But see, they've preconditioned us that it doesn't exist. They've preconditioned us that anybody that talks about this stuff and who is against it is a kook or a racist because it doesn't exist. And then everybody's decided, well, I'm going to be culturally cool. I want to be in style. I want to be accepted. So even when they're hearing the news admit it, tell us how great it is, they've already pre-positioned it psychologically that it's not acceptable, it's not kosher to discuss it. Do you see the tactic they're using there? Mm-hmm. 5 years ago, I would laugh when I heard about black helicopters. I would say, I'm about taxes, I'm about corruption, I'm about getting local control back, I'm about states' rights, everything's coming under federal control. I was pretty mainstream, what you'd call so-called conservative. Then I saw the light when black helicopters started going into North Carolina. I started going into Florida. They fired into an all-night restaurant in Miami, just training, firing bullets into a place where people were eating. They started burning buildings. Police chiefs started throwing them out of their towns, San Antonio. All this started happening, and I said, whoa, this is real. And then I realized that I was preconditioned, even as a so-called conservative person who understood that the media lied. I didn't realize how thick the propaganda was. That they preconditioned us before they release something on us, that it, number one, doesn't exist in our minds with classic doublethink, but then it can re-exist at the same time if they say it does and it's good. So it's literally George Orwell's doublethink. And one has to have it to stay sane in this world. Well, I refuse to be a part of it. The news every day, black helicopters are a joke, they're stupid, the culture, commercials, movies. At the same time, almost every month in this country, they're attacking and terrorizing some town with burning buildings and terror. And I don't want to be part of their sick control freak system. I don't like these degenerate, inbred, New World Order crowd people. They're not going to run my life. They're not going to control me. And I'm going to try to expose them. And I think we've had some success doing that. Oh, look how pretty it is.
Sure is pretty.
Mike, you enjoying yourself?
A lot less spooky during the daytime.
It's all foggy. Yeah, we're going to take our British friends down into the forest a little bit later tonight. Let them gallivant in the werewolf-ridden woods. Joking. Of course, they'll have me on there. Alex Jones, radio talk show host, believes werewolves infest Northern California. They've been seen dancing with grizzly bears. Small pixies been even witnessed playing violin for George Bush. Don't know what to make of what's going to happen. I can't even begin to imagine what we're going to discover when I infiltrate tomorrow and try to get the cremation of care. We're very close to the gateway to Bohemian Grove now. The first set of gates and security. They have a small guard check at the front, and then they have a larger second one. Not a through road. Get a shot of that. There's a guard gate right over there, a small guard gate, and then back further, an even more elaborate guard gate with surveillance cameras, you name it. Not a through road, ladies and gentlemen, right up here in Northern California.